And we are back. Food Bank for New York City has one of the single largest volunteer income tax assistance programs in the United States. Now, over the last 20 years, this organization has been tirelessly providing low-income New Yorkers with essential tax assistance, putting millions of dollars really back into their pockets. And here now to share more is the Senior Vice President of Programs for the Food Bank for New York City, Zac Hall. And Zac, good to have you again.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate to be here.
Listen, as we talk about it, I'm glad, this is good. I mean, here we go. We just talked in the last segment, helping some high school students out. Now we're helping New Yorkers out in terms of, tax returns and keep more money in your pocket.
Absolutely. Why pay?
Right.
85% of our tax clients get a refund, and we want to make sure that they keep as much of that in their pockets to put food on the table. Why would a food bank do volunteer tax assistance? Because food is not a single issue. We make sure that folks have the resources they need to put food on the table and feed their families.
Right. Food insecurity is huge, though. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, when we talk about food insecurity, tell me what you're saying.
Well, we're still seeing about 1.1 million New Yorkers each year relying on our services across New York City. So we're in about 90% of the zip codes in New York City through our network of 800 or more soup kitchens and food pantries. And any element of benefit is supporting that work to get folks food on the table. Financial security is really phenomenal. And we take a whole person-centered approach to looking at, obviously, our core business is food distribution and connections back to actual meals for today. We want to make sure that folks have the resources and benefits to make a secure future for tomorrow as well.
I mean, kudos to whoever was the visionary, because I think when you talk about, here we are struggling with the area of food, but now I'm able to save some money and buy food for myself or whatever I want to do. But then Food Bank steps in and says, listen, we'll provide these tax preparers. So for somebody out there that doesn't know, how do they go about doing this here? And what's the criteria?
Well, great question. To be eligible for a volunteer income tax assistance from Food Bank and any other providers in the city, you need to earn $65,000 or less in 2023. So you can visit our website to learn more about the different models and services that we have. But we do online, 100% online, where folks can use their smartphones and computers and tablets, scan their tax documents, send it securely and safely to us, and we'll prepare your taxes for free. But we also have dozens of sites across the city where folks can get in-person tax services as well.
What's the response been? I mean, I already know, but I want our viewers to know the response of people who've actually taken advantage of this.
Yeah, for the last 22 years we've been doing this, we've helped over 840,000 people file their taxes for free, creating 1.4 billion with a B dollars in tax refunds back to New York City. And this year we'll do probably around 17,000 tax returns.
And the other point that we're really not, we really didn't uplift is, for somebody, sometimes getting the taxes done is not the easiest thing, right?
Right.
And so now you're also lifting the burden of, here you are, I can get this done for you.
Right, exactly. So oftentimes I tell folks that, tax is a four-letter word for a lot of people, so it's a really stressful time. And folks still may not have the internet connection. They may not have a service in their community to access this. But we know that free tax assistance, financial services like this are really for folks in the community that need it the most. So, visit Food Bank's website, foodbanknyc.org/tax help to learn more about the different programs and services in the community, making sure that all of our tax preparers and staff and volunteers doing this work are IRS certified. We are sponsored and have been for over 20 years by the IRS. High quality free tax assistance that rivals some of the retail preparers that are out there.
And the deadline for that again?
April 15th is the filing deadline, but early and often is what we always tell people about filing for taxes, and make sure that they get it done and get the refund back in their pocket as soon as they can.
And year after year, are you seeing an increase in this?
Yeah, we see demand every year for our services, and we have appointments-based system, so folks know when they can come and get served. So we manage folks' time and their own calendars, and manage the time that they have to do the services work for themselves.
Do you end up turning people away too?
Well, we have limited space, so like I said, early and often, and sign up now. Don't delay, and don't put it off until April, because that's when the season gets busy. We want to make sure that folks have the access that they can now.
Yeah. For Food Bank, I know on the topic of just really food distribution and getting food out there to the community, talk to us about where you get your stuff from and how you're able to get it out.
Well, we do a lot of sourcing from a lot of different sources for food, but a lot of it is we get some government product that comes into us, and we can, have high quality, healthy food coming in across all the food groups. But we also do a lot of wholesale purchasing. Being that we're a large purchaser, we can move food at a relatively low cost, and we get lots of donations from corporate partners across the area. And that food comes in our warehouse in Hunts Point, not too far from here, and goes across the city every day. Dozens and dozens of huge trucks going around the city delivering food.
Does it ever give you pause to look around and see the amount of people who are in New York City who are just struggling with the issue of food insecurity in a place where they talk about, the city that never sleeps, and we've got a whole lot of great things going on, but at the same time, we've got this issue here.
It's just something that keeps us up at night for sure. Like, what's the best way to serve this community? I think maybe my math might be off, but the food insecure population in New York City, about 1.1 million people, would be, I think, in the top 10 largest cities in the United States. So think about that level of need. Mm-hmm. Folks can donate, they can get involved as a volunteer with us. There's dozens of pantries in all communities across the city, like I said, but making sure that, this is a fundamental need for food to have, for people to have access to food. Everybody eats, right? So we're making sure that that is something that we can all, as New Yorkers, come together and address. Hunger is something that we should really eliminate in this country, but we've been doing this for 40 years, and we still see this level of demand. But a lot of the work around that we're doing is looking at what is the future of addressing food insecurity look like on the financial front, and that's a huge component of this.
And talk to me about what the future does look like for you.
Well, we're doing, we're continuing to build on Beyond Food initiatives. So we have large-scale free SNAP assistance that we do with our own staff, but we have a network of providers that SNAP is the first best solution to address hunger in the city. Free taxes, as we've been talking about, but we're also moving into integrations more with the healthcare space and making sure that we see food as health as a really important fundamental component of integrating our services with making communities healthier and ensuring families have the food that they need to stay healthy.
Yeah. I know after COVID, that highlighted food insecurity. Where are we now in terms of what you're saying? Is it even worse since then, or are we getting a little bit better?
It's still significant. I think the costs of living have still been plateaued at a higher level pre-pandemic. So housing, food, transportation, childcare, all those things that many New Yorkers rely upon are still at a high level, and incomes and support haven't scaled up to the same level. So we're still seeing, like I said, millions of people struggling financially across the city, and many of whom, there are folks going to access food services in our pantry system that may not be able or eligible for SNAP benefits, for example. And the emergency food system is the only way that those folks are able to access regular food supports.
Yeah. Talk to me about time of year. During this time of year, what's the worst time of year actually for when you see the large numbers in terms of food insecurity problems?
Well, it depends. I think one of the things that we often see is people really get enthusiastic about supporting food banks and our work around the holidays, so Thanksgiving, right, Christmas, New Year's, and so forth. But we need support all year long, and January, February is a big time of month of the year for us to kick off our tax services. But it's also the time where we see folks waiting out in lines for food in the snow and cold weather, and we make sure as efficiently as we can get those folks in. And part of that is being able to serve the communities that we have with resources from our warehouse in the Bronx.
Zac Hall,
Daren,
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All righty. Well, listen, I want to let you know more information. Visit the website at foodbanknyc.com/VITA, and then follow them on social media, Food Bank for NYC.